Hi, this is the Black Bear Prepper, and kind of with some of the other stoves we've been doing, we're kind of going through the seasons now. This will be part of our stove series. If you want to see some of our other videos on stoves, look under the stove icon. It's pretty simple. This is my summer stove system. So the system I use during the summer, it works very, very well. I've been using it for upwards of 8 to 10 years in this particular configuration. I like it a lot. I don't have many problems with it, and it seems to work very well for what I use. If you're looking for winter camping, I use a totally different system. Go look at our winter camping stove video. So that's to start with. So kind of what I have, I'm always big on a modular system, something I can move around and adjust and modify per se if I need to for bigger groups or smaller groups. I tend to do a lot of groups with anywhere from 5 to 20 people. So I kind of plan for that kind of a scenario. Now the heart of my system is my stove kit. Now stove kits came out a few years ago when we had the jet boils came out. This happens to be a Primus ETA Express, okay? And it's ETA, okay, Express. Now they also make the ETA stove, the Express stove, I'm sorry, the Primus Express stove. What they basically did is they built the kit around the stove, which I really like because then you can just buy, if you have a problem, you just buy the stove, and it's $24.99 at Sportsman's Warehouse is where I buy them if I ever have any problems. Truthfully, the company has been amazing though. If I have any problems, I send out for a part. A couple days later, I get a bag of parts in the mail. They've never questioned it, even if it's past the date. Can't say they do that for everybody, but I've never had them question it. I have bought these stoves. I'm not being sponsored by Primus or anything. I like Primus stuff. It seems to work very well for me. Like I said, I'm not being sponsored by them. They're not paying me to say anything, so just kind of getting that out of the way up front. Now this is the older ETA Express. I bought these. I haven't seen any reason to replace them. I really like because they're nice and compact. Their new version is a smaller, stubbier pot with a plastic lid on it so you can see if they boil. It's totally fine if you want to go that way. This is just what I use. I'm not saying it's the best thing out there. In my opinion it is, but you may have a different opinion. Just kind of showing you what I use. Now the kit is a 1 liter pot system. Comes with this little bag here that kind of holds it all nice and tight. Comes with a 1 liter pot, which means you can do bigger than 2 cup boils. You cannot boil a liter of water. You can produce a liter of water though. So if you're using it for hot chocolate, teas, things like that, where you just need the water brought up to a boil, you can boil a liter of water in here. If you want to actually have a rolling boil for food, things like that, about 2.5 cups as much as you'll be able to get in there because it will literally boil over. The first part you have a little mini fry pan that doubles as a lid. So I've used this for fish, cut up little chunks of fish and cooked them in there. Works very well for that, kind of on the, on the fly if you need to. Like this because it has a handle that I can take on and off. I can kind of tilt it up without burning my hands, all silicone coated. This is my one jet boil item I love. So this is the jet boil pot or stove stand. I highly recommend these. They're very light. They fold up into the kit really well. I love them. So that kind of goes on the bottom there. You have your stove. This is their auto ignite stove. It works excruciatingly well for boiling water, and I also use it when I'm cooking. So kind of like I use the GSI fry pans if I'm going to be doing any kind of cooking. I like those a lot. The Pinnacle series. They seem to work very, very well. So that's my stove. Folds right out. I always, in all my kits, always carry a foldable spork. You'll see it in my winter kit. I carry the longer version of the spork or spoon because we use a lot of freeze-dried that time of year, and the longer one won't fit inside my pot. But this gives me a backup in case somebody forgets their spoon or if I forget my spoon. Not that I've ever done that, but something to think about. The windscreen slides down into the kit, and then you have your fuel, Your fuel, it holds a full-size canister. Most of your Jetboils will only hold the smaller canisters. It's about $1 difference. So these cost about $4.50 or $5.50, and these are $4.50 for the small one. So you get double the amount for $1 extra. I really like this size. It seems to work real good for about a 3-day trip. 3-day, 2-night trip. And at the very bottom, I keep a washcloth. So these are little micro washcloths. You know, there are all kinds of fancy ones you can buy. I buy them at the dollar store and cut them down. Just what I do. So kind of how the kit goes here. You take your fuel bottle, whether it's a small one, it goes into the smaller clip-ins, or whether it's the full-size one and you clip in to the full size. You take your stove and you spin your stove on. You'll hear it hiss and then turn off. Now this stove, like I said, has an auto igniter. Let's see, I've got a fan going here, so let's see if we can get it to the light. You turn on about a quarter and kick the thing. I say it works about 9 times out of 10. I've never not had it work. I've had them break down though. So I've had them go out on a trip, something to think about. But that's on very low. I'm going to go ahead and turn it up. As you can see, that's a flame that's a good 10-12 inches. Something to think about. Now what I do like about this system is it's very modular. I can sit there and put a fry pan on without any extra attachments. I can put the pot that comes with it. I can put bigger pots on. This particular one, we're going to go ahead and slide on the windscreen. I just sit there and I spin the stove until I can hear the flame kick up. I put my standard pot again that has the silicone coated slings and the reactor type bottom just like the Jetboil, and I can put it on and use it. Now I can turn it up and down, I can simmer in it. The one thing I really like about these particular pots over the Jetboil, non-stick coating. If you ever try to wash out soup out of a Jetboil, it's basically impossible. Now I'm going to get a lot of people that are going to come that are Jetboil fanatics and are going to go, no, it's the easiest thing ever. All you've got to do is do this and this and this and use some leaves. And I'm like, I don't care. I want to be able to take my little scrubby thing, wipe it out, wash off my scrubby, and I'm done. And that's what this allows me to do. I really like the non-stick coating that comes on the hard anodized aluminum pots. So these are not titanium pots. I do not like titanium pots because they tend not to cook anything. They boil amazingly, don't get me wrong. Just don't forget to put water in there before you put the pot on there. I've had people do that where they usually heat up their pots a little bit before they put the water in there, so they're heating it up. They go to put it on. You'll actually see a red ring on the bottom of your stove by the time you get water on there. So I like the hard anodized aluminum. They tend to hold up a little bit better. Like I said, this pot is 10 years old, gets beat on all the time, and just doesn't seem to show any real wear. Every once in a while I'll scratch the inside because I'm not careful and I use metal utensils and things. It still seems to be very non-stick over the years. So that's my favorite. This system will boil water, 2 cups of water in about a minute and a half, minute and 10 seconds when it's got a full canister. A lot faster than Jetboils that I've seen at least. The other thing that's really nice about this kit, over the Jetboils per se, except for the brand new ones, is that I turn it on, I kick it on, I can simmer this stove down to almost nothing, which the Jetboils will not do unless you get the new Minimo version. So if you're going to buy a Jetboil, buy the new Minimo. Now the other problem I have with Jetboils is to be able to put anything but their reactor pot or whatever, not reactor, I guess it's MSR, but you know, their pot system on there, you've got to take their pot off. You got to put an attachment on there that clips in, which is another piece of equipment that you always forget. And then you can put your pot on there. What I like about this system is I can go ahead and put my pot on there. Done. So this is my bigger version of pot. So if I'm going on a trip, usually I'll use a stove for every 3 to 4 people. Seems to work just fine. If I have a group that maybe I have maybe 6 people, I'll usually go to 2 stoves. I usually like to have 2 stoves a minimum with me. So anytime I have a trip where I'm going to maybe have a problem, I can always throw in an extra one of these stoves, which is really nice as a backup. So if I think I might have a problem, instead of getting a whole nother kit, I might just bring an extra stove. So if I've got below about the 4-person mark, I'll throw in an extra just stove by itself. If I've got maybe 6 people in the group, I'll throw in an extra stove, and I'll throw in the bigger pot and leave the other pot at home. And that allows me to be able to cook a full liter of water. This is a 1.8 liter pot, so you know, and it has a standard lid on it kind of thing here. But it allows me, now they make a new version of this with a plastic lid and all that, which is kind of nice because this one has the old style clippy holder, which I hate, but saving 60 bucks for the brand new one, I haven't done it yet. So I may down the road. So kind of that's nice. I can put a fry pan on here and it does work reasonably well. We cook pancakes and Spam, of course. Everybody loves Spam. And if you don't, who cares? So that's kind of my stove setup. I really do like it. Like I said, I buy just the stove by itself as a backup to my kit. So if I'm going to go on a smaller trip, I have a little bag. It comes in a little Primus little bag for 25 bucks. You get a little Primus bag with the stove, and I can just screw it on and reuse my kit in case the stove goes out. If you have not broken stoves, water filters, tents, sleeping bags, whatever it is, you are not camping hard enough. It's like people that tell me their guns don't malfunction. You're not shooting enough. So if you can tell me your kit never breaks down, you're not camping enough. I've seen jet boils break down, probably more than anything else. I've seen MSR stoves break down. I've seen all kinds of stoves. I've even lost the igniters on this stove. After 10 years, I had one go out. So what can I say? You know, not the end of the world. But real great system. Like I said, I do like the jet boil system here. It's got a little rubber feet on it. Kind of a neat system there. Now, as far as my utensils go, I tend to carry what I need for the trip I'm going on. In the wintertime, you guys saw, these are my favorite things on earth, are the long versions of spoons and sporks. This is the titanium one by Optimus, which I really like because it's kind of like a polished feel to it. It's really nice to eat out of. I know that kind of sounds funny, but this one kind of has a little bit more of a gritty feel to it, and the aluminum Sea to Summit versions, do they work great? Yes. These are probably my item that I will not go camping without. There's a lot of items I'll deal with. I really like this and toilet paper. So it's on the same level of toilet paper with me. Now, as far as backup items, the Snow Peak, if you cannot find the Sea to Summit or the Optimus ones, they're online. They cost you about $8 to $15 for those guys. For about $10, $9 to $10, you're going to get the Snow Peak Spork, which works really well. Oh, Snow Peak Spork. Like I said, huge fan of these. Now, a lot of times what I'll do is I'll carry the spoon and my little itty bitty fork here. I keep trying to say spork, but it's not a spork, it's an actual fork. So if I'm going to do real food, a lot of times I'll take that with me and I'll use this. What's nice about these is they reach down in the bottom of the bags really well, or mixing up hot chocolate, or if you're a coffee drinker, being able to get down to the bottom of that longer pot is really nice. Or if you're actually eating out of the pot, these will get down, and since they're curved at the bottom, they'll allow you to be able to pick up the food at the very bottom of your bowl, of your pot, which is really nice. So one of those items, a must-have in my opinion. You can add the Sea to Summit, knife. I tend to just use the knife I have on me. I just tend, but if it's something I know that I'm going to be eating a lot on the plate, I don't want to tear up my knife too much, so I'll bring this with me. So if I'm with a group, a lot of my vegetarian friends, they tend to make a lot of food, which means it's not coming out of freeze-dried bags. Tends to mean I end up using those often. Now the system, you can always use the 110 gram canisters. These guys are small, cheap, and I can use this as a backup. That canister I just used had been used for 3 days. So this next trip I'll be taking a 110 grammer with me to make sure I make it through the trip. I use two different types of cups. This is my measuring cup. This is an old Army surplus US military one. I really like these because one, they're marked on the inside of the cup and on the outside of the cup, and they're done in thirds and quarters. So if you've ever had raspberry crumble, which is my favorite thing to take on a trip, right now at least, it's a cup and a third, or 2/3, something like that. It's a third type measurement. And so you're able to use the cup and a third. And then these are ultra light. I used to carry there it got it. Sorry, put it way too far away. The GSI version, this weighs about half of what the GSI version is, and I hate it because it does not have the marks on the outside and the inside, and they're really hard to read, the marks that are on them. So this has marks on just the inside, but it's hard to read if you're not looking at it. Where this one, you just have to pick out which one you're trying to fill to, and it fills right up to it. Got a little handle on it. This one, as you can see, it's been beat the living daylights out of. You can get these online, all kinds of stuff, but you know, $5-10. My cup for doing hot chocolate or coffee or whatever you'd like to do is, this happens to be one of the old titanium MSR cups. The new ones are made by Snow Peak. This is a double walled, so I can actually hold on to it without burning my hands. So in case I break a handle, not saying I've ever done that before, but I've seen it happen where people have broke off their handles and now they're trying to hold on to it with, you know, trying to burn their hands, holding on to it with a glove. And I don't carry gloves in the summertime, so something I definitely like. And I also have some nice little silicone handles. You cannot cook in these, which is a lot of people hate. One of those things, you got to decide what you're going to do. I don't cook in them because you'll actually make them explode because they are sealed on the inside here. Really like it. They're expensive, you know, anywhere from about, you know, $40 to $60, matter where you get it. I definitely like them. They keep your hot chocolate or your coffee or your tea, whatever it is, nice and warm. Even at night, even in the summertime, it can be 100 in the summertime during the day and 30 degrees at night. And I've seen it that way, so having hot chocolate on your trip is kind of nice. And they're easy to clean out. Something to have with you if you're going to make, you know, lemonade or Crystal Light or something like that. Something so you're not clogging up your system. Now, I feel that this is the best system out there because I'm able to move things around. The other thing, you know, there's a lot of guys out there that are Jetboil fans. Jetboil is the problem I have is that they have the lock-on system, and all the other systems out there that have the lock-on system are hard to use in my opinion, because when you boil the water, I want to be able to take the water off, dump it out, refill it, and put it back on. Instead of moving the whole system. You know, this is kind of a pain. Where the Jetboil system I've tried it a couple different ways. I've had them. I've had them where you leave it locked on and you tip it over when it's locked on, you turn off the bottle and then you tip it over. That works. It tends to be nice inside of a tent. I've not found it too big of a deal to... Okay, and so I want to be able to take the pot off and dump it out versus having it locked on. And I've never had a problem with, like I said, putting it in the middle of the tent and using it in the middle of the tent. Don't do that. I'm going to tell you right now, you shouldn't put stoves in tents. I can speak to experience on this. Read the little sign on the side of your tent. If you do, though, a lot of people put, you know, they'll have the hanging kit so they can hang them from the center of the tent. That works just fine. I tend to think that the tent moves around a lot, and it's kind of a pain to me. So I tend to like this system where I just set it on the bottom. Now that doesn't always work, so there's other options you have if you want to go with a canister lock-in type system. For me, I like the ability to be able to take the pot off, dump it in, and these have little pour spouts on them, which makes it real nice, and then go ahead and finish them up. Like I said, really modular. I can take big canisters, small canisters, wind, non-wind, doesn't matter to me. I can add bigger pots, smaller pots. They make a 3-liter pot that also goes with this system. Very nice. It's a system I use in the wintertime. I tend not to use anything bigger than in the summertime to the 1.8-liter pots. This is a fuel. I tend to run the Snow Peak fuel because it's the cheapest. A lot of the other fuels work just fine. I've used the Snow Peak. I've used the MSR. I've used the Primus fuels. They all seem to work really well. I've not had good luck with the Jetboil fuels. It may have changed it since the last time I tried using their fuel, but I didn't seem to like it when I did it. Not that Jetboil or anybody else is paying me not to like Jetboil. I just don't like them. They tend to be a little flimsier for me. This tends to be a little bit more solid of a stove. I'm not having, when I'm putting a lot of water pressure on there, it's going to work just fine. So this is my setup. You know, made by Primus. Like I said, this is the Primus ETA Express system that they have. I really do like it. I have multiples of this system for bigger groups or smaller groups. And like I said, this system handles anywhere from about 2 to 4 people with an added stove. Anything over about 6, you know, I'll set there, and instead of carrying an extra stove, I'll carry an extra kit. and I'll just do 2 stove kits of the Primus ETA Express. If I'm in the middle, I'll go ahead and throw in my 1.8 liter pot, and I can do 2 liter, or I can do a full liter at a time. That speeds up the trip a little bit, but it's a little bulkier. So you just gotta kind of plan for what you're gonna use it for. Remember, it's only light if it works. You know, I try to tell people that. Light is good if it works. If it does not work, if your tent weighs 1 pound but falls down every time the wind blows, it doesn't work. If your sleeping bag weighs 16 ounces but you freeze your butt off at night, it's not working. You know, we're supposed to have fun when we're out in the outdoors. So keep that in mind. You know, light isn't always perfect. You know, we want to make sure you've got something light but usable. And this particular system tends to be that kind of mix for me. Light and usable, durable. It's going to hold up for you. So, as always, this is the Black Bear Prepper. Please subscribe. Tell your friends to subscribe. You know, we use those subscriptions to see which ones the people are liking the videos. Like the video down at the bottom. Please comment if you have a question. If you think I'm full of crap, put it down there. As long as it's constructive criticism, I usually leave them up. If you're just being a dork, I tend to erase you. But as far as most people you'll see on there, I even leave in the ones that are kind of mean and obnoxious because, okay, you wanted to say it and it's a free country, you get to speak whatever you want. But I like it when people talk about, you know, their stove systems. Tell me what you're using. Why you like your stove system better than this. What you see as a better feature. I've been doing this for a long time, but doesn't mean it's perfect. So, as always, have a great day.